Hype up! Hype up! Hype up! Hello and welcome back to sgCarMart Reviews. Today we have the Mazda 3 hatchback. No, you clicked correctly, it's the Mazda CX-30, which incidentally is based on the Mazda 3. They share the same platform. So the CX-30 is between the CX-3 and the CX-5. But if it's too confusing, just know that this is the upsized, taller version of the Mazda 3 hatchback. And how do you tell the difference visually? Most obviously is the extra black cladding here. And the fact that this is a crossover, so it is, give or take, 3 inches taller than the Mazda 3 hatchback. But I must say, Mazda is killing it with design, especially for this generation of Mazdas. I mean, let's start from the grille. I know a lot of brands are doing this blacked out grille with their logo, huge logo in the center, but I feel Mazda has owned their own design in this aspect. You know, it's very distinct. You can't miss it. And if another brand kind of does the similar take as this, you can immediately tell that they are kind of copying Mazda. And there's 1 or 2 brands out there that are actually doing something that makes you think that they copied Mazda. If you know what I'm talking about, comment in the comment box below. Anyway, I really like the design of this car. The chrome is placed at, I feel, the right places. And one design that I really like about the Mazda cars of this generation is the sheet metal is very flowy. You don't have hard creases. I mean, there's just slight one here, but then it's just very curved and smooth metal throughout the car. Makes the car look very smooth. And I like that. A lot of other crossovers in this segment, they are going for the sporty utility vehicle look, so there's a lot of hard creases and rugged look. I like that this is a breath of fresh air that is flowy, more form than function. I mean, honestly speaking, who in this segment buys a crossover vehicle to go into the grass? Nobody. So I think this is a good design call on Mazda. To the boot! The Mazda CX-30 is priced from $106,000 to this $116,000 luxury variant. The 2-litre engine produces 162 brake horsepower and 213 Nm of torque. The 6-speed automatic transmission brings the car from 0 to 100 in 9.7 seconds. For more details on the Mazda CX-30 or any other car, head on to sgCarMart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. Onto the boot! Electric tailgate. Okay, what you get is 422 litres of boot space. Not exactly class leading, but you know, most competitors in this segment, the Kicks, the Nero, what else? The HRV, all around the same-ish space. So 422 litres, nothing much in here except 2 hooks. There's a slight load lip here, and then what you get in the boot floor is a spare wheel for temporary use only, it says so here. But does it pass the anti-trolley length test? Nope. Does it pass the luggage test? Nope as well. Obviously, if you put it sideways, no problem, and there's still a bit of space here. So what else is there? There's an interesting parcel shelf. I like the hooks. You know, they made a cover for the hooks to make it look slightly different from other parcel shelf hooks from other brands. But it's secured quite tightly here with Velcro, and I guess they are encouraging you to keep the parcel shelf on at all times because there isn't anywhere to actually store it properly. But the problem comes when you want to knock down the rear seats because the parcel shelf gets in the way. So you have to knock it down from the back seat. Let me quickly The good news when you knock down the rear seats is the floor is flat, so you can push things in comfortably. Pity about the parcel shelf though, because if you have big items, this will definitely get in the way, and taking it out is going to be, you know, problematic. Yeah, it's too much of a struggle. I shan't show you here. To the back seat. Onto the back seat. Okay. This is my driving position. I'm 1.8 meters tall. As you can see, knee room is fantastic. Foot space is good as well. You know, I can move in my foot quite deep inside. Headroom, there is some, but being a subcompact crossover, not subcompact, compact crossover, and the fact that there's a sunroof here, it means that a bit of the roof is sacrificed for the glass to move in. That's why it looks a little claustrophobic for someone who is taller, but if you're seated like that, you know, it's perfectly fine. Equipment, we have rear aircon vents, very welcome in Singapore's weather. No climate control though, but I guess that's okay. No USB ports. And we have cup holders here and ISOFIX points here. One thing about the design of the car is nice and flowy, it doesn't look boxy like other crossovers of the segment, but that comes at the price, that being the shape. The window here is much smaller than, you know, its boxy competitors. So is it deal breaking? I don't think so. It's just you will want a bit more light coming in. Anyway, for the middle seat, I would say it's definitely cushiony, but harder cushion, if you get what I mean. It's not rock hard like other middle seats of other cars. But I'm definitely seated slightly higher, and again, you know, because of the lower roof, it feels a bit claustrophobic. But I would last 20 minutes in here, no problem. But if I'm going on a road trip, I wouldn't want to be seated in the middle. There's a transmission tunnel here, so whoever's sitting here will be forced to man spread. Yeah, and man spreading is mandatory because if the driver wants to open up the center compartment here, he can't just open it up like that. He needs to push it back. And imagine if your knees were like that and he pushed it. Yeah, it will hurt. But then again, I don't think this is a deal breaker because, you know, how many times in the 10 years you're going to drive this will this situation happen? I mean, maybe the guy in the middle is being very irritating, and this is actually a good feature. Yep. Anyway, to the front seat. On to the front seat. Like I said earlier, I think Mazda nailed it with design. This car just exudes elegance. The design is simple, easy to understand, and it is not simplistic. It's just very elegant. Just look at the buttons here. All you need to control for the aircon is all housed in this small module here, and everything else to control the infotainment system is housed here. Not a lot of real estate, and everything else looks very clean. I mean, another brand that comes to mind when you think of clean center console is the Volvo range, where they have a huge screen here. But the issue with Volvo is they don't have physical buttons to control the air conditioning, and that's the bugbear of several of us at sgCarMart. But Mazda managed to make the buttons here easy to use, easy to understand, and kept things very clean and very elegant. And I like how everything just flows inside here. So because of how elegant and clean it is here, it makes the entire cabin feel very premium, that you're buying something that was well thought out. You know, you get soft touch materials here and there. I mean, okay, when you move closer to the floor, you get some plastic bits. But I think that's forgivable. And you know that they paid attention to design when the infotainment screen here, right? It doesn't jut out too high up. In fact, from where I'm seated, I have to sit very low, which is not really realistic. If I'm in my normal seating position, the top of the screen barely touches the horizon of the bonnet. So it feels as if someone actually sat here and made sure that the height of the screen is just right so that there's maximum legibility on the screen without blocking your view out of the car. Good stuff there. Elsewhere, the instrument panel, if you didn't look closely, you would think that there are 3 physical dials, but actually the one in the middle is digital. So good stuff there. And if you didn't want to see your speed from the dial here, there's a heads-up display. And the heads-up display is pretty useful because it also gives you alerts for when you are departing your lane or when you need to do an emergency brake. A big brake word will flash across the screen, and that's good to have. The steering wheel, I feel that the material used to wrap the steering wheel, I'm not sure if it's leather, synthetic leather, or some other material. I would say it doesn't feel leather-like, and that's the only negative point I have about this cabin. The seats are electric, memory. I feel that they are pretty comfortable, and the seats are perforated. So I was hoping for ventilated seats. Maybe that's a future upgrade that you can do. Yeah, so I think this car feels very premium. I hate to have to compare it to a continental German brand because I feel that the Japanese and the Koreans can do it as well as their European counterparts. And I feel that the Mazda's cabin feels extremely premium. I think no other crossover at this price point feels the same in terms of premiumness of the cabin. So, kudos to Mazda. The only thing left is to see how this thing drives. So, what is it like to drive the Mazda CX-30? Some performance figures first. 2-litre engine, 162 brake horsepower, 213 Newton meters of torque. Sufficient for overtaking. It's not underpowered, but it's not super powered. Handling wise, as you can see as I'm going around the bend, it is a crossover, so there is body roll. Not too much that it makes it, but there is some body roll. Because this car is made for comfort, I don't feel much bumps. The bumps are, buttery rather than rigid. Handling wise, I would say this is not the most engaging car to drive. I mean, the steering wheel goes where you point. The car goes where you point, but the steering is between light to moderate, and I don't feel very engaged with the car, as I drive. I mean, it's more of a comfort car. I wouldn't buy this car because it feels super sporty to drive. That said, like I said, the engine is pretty good for overtaking purposes because it's a 6-speed automatic. Many of its competitors at this price point, especially the Japanese competitors, use CVTs, and personally I don't like CVTs because of the rubber banding, even though CVTs are supposedly more fuel efficient. And if you heard that bling bling sound, it was the lane departure warning. So the other thing that you will experience when you drive the CX-30 is the safety features like the lane departure warning, the blind spot monitoring, and the lane keep assist, as well as the adaptive cruise control. All of these features make driving on the expressway very fuss-free, I must say. For example, adaptive cruise control is pretty good, the radar-based one. It keeps the distance between you and the car in front, then it speeds up or slows down accordingly. Brainless work, very good. More importantly, the lane departure warning And the lane keep assist is very useful because, let me try to show you. Okay, see, the car forces you back into the lane. It keeps you in the lane. Other brands nudges you back into the lane. The Mazda CX-30 forces you. I like the fact that it forces you because that's what it's supposed to do. It isn't supposed to gently tell you, hey, stay in your lane. It really tells you, you're going out already, time to go back in. But it doesn't force you in such a way that when you are trying to change lane without signaling, that you can't do it. You know, like steering wheel fights you for it. No, it doesn't. You still can change your lane like so. No problem at all. So I like it. Yeah, so driving the CX-30 is pretty relaxing and comfortable. It's a comfort biased car. Don't expect performance figures from it or performance handling. So if that is what you're after, you know, the CX-30 might be the car for you. Is it a will buy, won't buy, or go try the Mazda CX-30? I'm stuck between go try and will buy. Someday I'll add in another category. So why am I stuck? Because this car at this price point, the top of the line variant, if you go on sgCarMart.com, you'll find that at around this price range, there are other bigger SUVs like the Peugeot 3008 or the Subaru Forester. You'll be wondering, why should I pay this amount of money and get a smaller car when I can get something bigger? Well, it's not all so simple, you see, because the Mazda CX-30 has some things going for it that the other cars don't, which is a very, very smooth and silky looking exterior coupled with an interior cabin that, honestly speaking, feels the most premium at this price range. It feels the most premium. The thought put into the design of the cabin, I feel, is top notch. No other car that I've driven at this price point has matched the elegance and simplicity of this cabin. And then, of course, all the safety features, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, lane departure warning, adaptive cruise control, all of these make driving the CX-30 on the expressway extremely relaxing. And at the end of the day, I think for me at least, driving should be relaxing, should be fuss-free, and I think that trumps having 100 liters more at a boot, or a car that feels bigger and have more presence on the road. That's just me. So, I mean, my verdict, it will tend more closely to will buy for me. So yeah, that's my verdict for the CX-30. It's actually a will buy. I actually didn't think I would say will buy until I driven this thing, because oh yeah, on paper, on the website, I'm like, smaller car, high price tag, who would buy? But then after driving it, I get it. I get why some people will get this car. And yeah, when you try it, perhaps you'll get it too. So that was my review of the Mazda CX-30. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. And if you have ever test driven this car, yeah, let us know how you feel about it in the comments below. Remember to subscribe and then hit the bell notification icon, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.